We're out here in the field doing what we do. Human rights policy officers, just trying to spread awareness of people's rights. Doing something that's unprecedented, never done before, which you all already aware of. You've seen the other videos that we've done. But we don't have a rehearsed script, just getting on, because I promised to let everybody know what happened when there was an arrest about 2 months ago. Which I've been released for about a month, and I meant to, it was in my mind to let everybody know what happened, but I decided not to because I didn't want to scare anybody or anything. But after a conversation this morning and something that happened a few weeks ago, I decided to go ahead and just release this video and let y'all know, what happened, how serious this issue is, what we're dealing with. Because it's not a game that we're playing with out here. We're not here for any fanfare. We're not trying to build a huge organization. Well, not even an organization, just a group of people trying to take action, and a necessary action that can bring remedy to what's going on with our people. First of all, self-determination, governments of self, which we're pushing Black Independence Day, because the only thing that will solve our problem, I don't care what you are, what religion you belong to, so we have to govern ourselves. Only we can give we justice. All that crying, this or that, to the powers that be, is not going to get us anywhere. We've been doing that for at least 100 years. But I'm not here to lecture you all about your tactics and so forth and so on. I'm just going to give some awareness and put out there what happened, so that if anything do happen, we made it public, and so they can't come behind our back and spread any misinformation. But anyway, when I got arrested the other day, I didn't go to court a couple years ago at 4th of July, when they threw those false charges, tried to say we were inciting a riot, and so forth. Just the charges, the prosecutor refused to even charge us with that, because they knew we were not inciting a riot. The mayor and them lied and said, oh, he was out there shouting, attack the police, which everyone knows we did not say attack any police. That order was not given, so we wasn't trying to incite a riot. Those were lies for them to try to arrest us. They tried to say it was fraud, and they were spreading news about fraud as well. And that didn't handle. That didn't hold, because we were not fraud, didn't ask for anything. And what we were doing was legit, which we'll explain in a minute. So anyway, even though we've been here over a month for the arrest, they arrested us on that, people, to try to push and campaign for Black Independence Day, giving out flyers, talking to the people. But the main thing is the flyers. That's the icebreaker, to let people know this is what's happening. If they have any questions, then we break the ice and explain to the people that they do have rights, that political power is inherent in the people, that at any given time the people can stand up and get rid of their authorities. No need to stand around Detroit and beg, oh, they're cutting our water off, poisoning our water, they evicting us from our homes, so forth and so on. No, we don't have any homes. The homes are being left to blight. They're selling out our city. There's gentrification. Those complaints are not necessary, because political power is inherent in the people. And if you don't believe or trust or consent to what the government is doing, you don't agree with it, just rise up in massive numbers and you can take political control. That's your power. You have the power to do that. I know those listeners may say, oh, they ain't gonna let us do this, they ain't gonna let us do that. Well, we're not here to do what they're gonna let us do. If you're a so-called revolutionary, you're a revolutionary because you're not doing what they're gonna let you do. You do what you have a right to do. So we have a human right, or a God-given right, to govern ourselves. It just so happens to be written in their own constitution that we have the power to govern ourselves, and that if we don't agree with the government, we can at any given moment alter or abolish that government. So we're teaching the people that they have the right to do that, and that's what they fear. They fear us teaching the people that they have a right to govern themselves. All they have to do is stand up in massive numbers, and that's it. Not massive numbers to march, not massive numbers to protest, not massive numbers to give a speech. No knocking what everybody else is doing, but that's not going to have any effect on power. Power has to be exercised, and you exercise that power because power is to the people. That's the slogan we've been saying for a whole bunch of years. We know it's famous through the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, Black Panthers and so forth. But power to the people, as they say, American is apple pie. The founding fathers, that was their slogan, power to the people. You can't govern over people that do not want to be governed over. So that's the power we have. So if you check your own state's constitution, the first article usually of every state constitution will say political power. All political power is inherent in the people. So we're here telling the people of Detroit that political power is inherent in them. All they have to do is rise up, and that's what they fear. As we were told 2 years ago, before I left the country. We had, me and a few of these guys here, we had meetings with the city officials, and we were told what they fear, what's going on. But anyway, when we was arrested the other day, not because of those old charges, because those old charges was a fine, which I went to court and they gave me a fine. But like the next day, it wasn't a Highland Park, a local Detroit or Highland Park police that came to me. It was federal agents that came the next morning when I was arrested. Agent Brand and Agent Erkman. I know they're listening, they'll be watching this video as well. Agent Brand, Agent Erkman. Brand, like a name brand. Erkman, E-R-K-M-A-N, or maybe 2 Ks, I forgot how to spell it, but they flashed their badges and interviewed me for 2 hours, or interrogated, whatever you call it, for 2 hours at the Highland Park precinct. I didn't talk to no Highland Park police. They put me in the room with 2 agents for 2 hours. And those agents just told me they've been on the case since 4th of July. I knew, which we knew they've been on the case. I've been detained at every airport in America, airports of entry, airports elsewhere, whether it be the islands, whether it be the Middle East. I've been detained at all those airports. And even recently, I don't want to say the person's name, but a certain superstar was coming back from a performance in Dubai last month, and the manager, who's a millionaire acquaintance of mine, who's an investor of mine back in the days, or acquainted with the investors, they detained him because of me, you know, and he was even afraid to call me and tell me, because he didn't want to be linked to me. I had to make a call to him, and he thought that I found out through our mutual friend that he was detained. I'm not going to say his name, but you all know the singer he was coming back with. Everybody knows the singer, the famous singer coming back from Dubai, performing about a month ago. He was detained. So those issues let us know how serious this matter is. And so when the feds had interviewed me or interrogated, whatever you call it, a month ago, they went over a whole bunch of things by saying, what we're doing, trying to so-called take over the government of Detroit, which many of you laugh. I know you see the post, you laugh, haha, they gonna take over government, this, that. I even had local members of certain organizations that's supposed to be militant and military organizations even warned their members about associating with me, telling me he gonna get charged with sedition, he gonna do this. Well, if I do get charged with sedition, Jesus Christ was charged with sedition. That means we're doing something right. But first of all, we're not gonna get charged with sedition because it's the right, but because that's our right to not overthrow the government, but to abolish or alter the government by the means of the people, not violent overthrow. So the feds came and they gave me some laws, printed out whatever law book they have, a policy book they have, to show, look, these are the laws that we've been looking at according, referring to your case that we've been under study since 2016. And number 1 was seditious conspiracy, which they said, no, you don't fit seditious conspiracy. Seditious conspiracy is if 2 or more persons in any state or territory or any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof. Contrary to the authority thereof. The people is the authority. They shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. They said, okay, we looked at you at that, but you're covered. You're not fitting that. Then law number, that was some funny looking symbol. Then 2384, seditious conspiracy. Then 2385, advocating overthrow of government. Whoever knowingly or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States or the government of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof, or the government of any political subdivision therein, by force or violence, or by the assassination of any officer of any such government, or whoever with intent to cause the overthrow or destruction of any such government prints, publishes, edits, issues, circulates, sells this matter advocating, advising, or teaching the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying any government in the United States by force or violence, or attempts to do so, or it goes so and so on, but it's advocating the overthrow of government, that law, by violence. They said, okay, now that one, we're not guilty, or I have not crossed that line of advocating overthrow of the government by violence. They said, but you are skating very close because your language can be inciting, especially your speech. You know, they have the video when I was invited by General Hashim Nzinga, the leader of the New Black Panther Party in Atlanta, to speak at his event honoring, which he holds every year, honoring Dr. Khalid Muhammad. So of course I was to speak at that, and the language was not inciting violent overthrow of the government, but of course that's tough language because we're talking tough. This is a tough situation. We got to stand up like men. It's going to be some tough talk, but nothing overthrowing any government. So I told them that. I said, you didn't, but you're skating closely to that. So make sure you don't cross that line. If you do cross that line, they read the law again to me. It said what? You're subject to what? If two or more persons conspire to commit any offense named in this section, each shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both, and shall be ineligible for employment by the United States or any department or agency thereof for the 5 years next following his conviction. So it would be in prison not more than 20 years and fined, you know. And then they even laughed themselves at the part where it says and shall be ineligible for employment by the United States. So of course we're not trying to be employed by the United States, but they just read those laws out to me and said, look, we're just covering these laws with you to make sure we gave you warning about that, which I already know the laws. I know that we have a right to govern ourselves, so that's what we're pushing. And I spoke to them about that. We spoke for 2 hours. And then last, they just had a section about 2386, registration of certain organizations. Like you got to register with the Attorney General if you're going to have an organization overthrowing the government. And they highlighted a section, an organization is subject to foreign control if it solicits or accepts financial contributions, loans, support, or whatever. So anybody, you know, taking money from a foreign government, which, you know, they give foreign governments money to help overthrow people they're not in agreement with, say, we have to let them know we'll be trying to accept money from foreign authorities, so forth. But along with this conversation, when they went over these laws which we're not going to break in, so this is irrelevant paperwork, but I'm just letting you know what happened when I was arrested and let you know how serious this is. So then we went over the fact of what we're trying to do here. They said, okay, you can do what you're doing. Y'all can really take control of Detroit the way we're doing it, which we're having a referendum, people just going to rise up, lawfully withdraw consent. You can do that. Even though you can't even get enough people to agree with that, which I beg to differ. We are going to get enough people. That's why they're worried. Then they said, okay, one thing, if you do it, you're going to fail because y'all need federal money, which we know economics, so we don't need no federal money to succeed. Then they said, how are you going to get past the bad press? And that's what we're going to talk about for a couple of minutes, then we're going to close out. How are you going to get past the bad press? And all these brothers can attest to that. And even yesterday, me and Brother Django, we was out. The press has worked because they purposely gave a script to the police and to the media on July the 4th, 2016, to make it look like what we were doing was wrong. It's a scam, it's this and that. So they made sure every station, was it CBS, ABC, and Fox, right? CBS, ABC, and Fox, Channel 7, Channel 2, and what's the other channel? Channel 4. Make sure they all say, oh, it's a scam. So they broadcast it for like 2 weeks. Oh, scam in Holland Park, scam in Detroit, this, that. To let people know, oh, it's a scam. That can't happen. And then they put on there something that we proved wrong. They had some footage that looked like somebody was running and getting away. Then they had the police chief read the script, which I will show y'all the video. I will clip this onto this post, what we're doing. Inside this video, I will edit it inside this video. The police chief, he was stumbling at the mouth. You will see it said, Ramzu took off and ran on us. So even now, am I right, Coach? Everywhere we go, people say, hey, why you run? Why you do this? So now they're trying to destroy the credibility, saying, if y'all was doing what's right, why you didn't stand up? Why you take off and run? Which we didn't run. That's part of that script to try to discredit us, which I will show you that script, which we have. They didn't know we had the video. Also, somebody on our part wasn't one of our team members recording, but somebody else was recording the whole thing and gave us a couple of videos which showed me getting arrested. No running going on, period. 6 white police officers, the black officers refused to touch me. 6 white police officers, which you all have seen that video, jumped on me and arrested me right on the spot. No.
Well, we tried to put the gentleman, the ringleader, under custody. He indicated that he was willing to go, but when the time came to, after numerous warnings, when the time came to try to take him into custody, he took off and ran on us.
In an attempt to discredit me, Police Chief Logan went as far as saying that I avoided confrontation and arrest by running away from the scene and abandoning my people. Video footage proves otherwise.
They look at him, beat him up and shit. He ain't doing nothing. He been peaceful.
This video shows a different story, and we find it no coincidence that black officers stood and watched as the police chief ordered an all-white SWAT team to attack and detain me as I was standing still on the lawn of the city hall.
They killing Ransom! You gotta get back. Die! Get back on the sidewalk! You gotta step back.
You next. You are next. If you don't believe me,
I'm not gonna tell you again.
You are next.
Police Chief Chester Logan had a long career with the Detroit Police Department that was rocked by a highly publicized scandal.
Running, no moving, nothing. They just swooped in and seized me. Nobody running, but they used that, like the FBI said, how are you going to get past the media? How are you going to convince the people when there's bad media on you? Because you all know that's in the struggle. You all know they use the media to try to defame somebody, make them look bad and discredit them. So that's what they did. They blasted out, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam. And then say he ran, he's a coward, he's not legit anyway. He took off and ran. I got tackled, got detained, and was held for what, 14 days at time. For 14 days, these brothers the one came and got me. They tried to delay these brothers from coming to get me out, saying, oh, no, the bond is this. No, the bond is that. They get that bond, come down. No, the bond is this. Come back down again with that bond. Oh, no, he's at this facility. He's at that facility. Trying to delay the whole process and stuff. Until I finally got out, they had to get a bondsman. See, he shouldn't have had to get a bondsman. Because the bondsman knows the game. He came in and got me out. You know, but that's the games that they're playing. But it's not the Highland Park or the Detroit Police. It's bigger than them. It's the FBI. Like, I'm not going to say the official's name. He said, no, it's not us. They want you silenced. Because what you're doing is progressive. You can catch on. People taking over a city, which we have a right to do. The people rising up in massive numbers. He said that's not to put down the sovereign movement. But he said that's like the sovereign movement, but it's progressive. Because sovereign movement is, which is a threat, but sovereign movement are mobilizing people. We don't like the sovereign movement, yeah. But we're mobilizing the people, because power to the people. Not to me saying I'm sovereign filing some paperwork, but if I do that and also have the people saying, as a whole, we don't consent, that's a great sovereign movement, because it really involves the people. And you can't govern over people that don't consent to being governed over. Who are you going to police over? Who's going to acknowledge you as being the mayor, or even the governor, or even the president? Who's going to acknowledge you being that if the people don't? Of course, me and say I don't consent to it, they can override me and the rest of the population and consent to the police. So the police doing something to me, something to these brothers, something to you individuals out there, it's nothing. But if we have the masses of people saying we don't agree, we don't consent, matter of fact, the people put together the people's police force, then that's a different ball game altogether. So that's what they fear. They fear that. They don't fear, isolated paperwork and stuff, even though that gets people in the right mind frame of thinking sovereign, which is great. And I'm glad that movement is going on. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is sizing up the environment for us to do what we're doing, or what we have to do, not just in Detroit, but elsewhere. So I just wanted to release this video. I got hyped this morning. A friend of mine said, no, don't hide. Don't be scared to tell the people what happened with the federal government, because I didn't want to make everybody afraid. But as we see, we're only going to get the support that we're getting anyway, and most of our support and the soldiers, I didn't meet these soldiers on Facebook. I didn't meet anybody that supported us really on Facebook. I put, thank you, Sister Des. Sister Des taught me to put in a fundraiser, because we need funds. We strapped, but we're trying to do this big movement and campaign for at least 100,000 with barely no funds. I put the fundraiser, thanks to the suggestion of Sister Des, no response to that. I didn't even get $1 from that. So why should I be afraid to let Facebook know what's going on? I think it's going to scare some supporters, which really we don't seem to be getting too much support. But at least if you don't get that, at least pray for us or whatever, send some positive energy out, spread the word about what's going on, because it's bigger than monetary support, even though we need that. But at least spread the word about what's going on and so forth. But anyway, just had to clear that up, let everybody know what's going down. The feds are watching. This is a serious matter. So when you see us, and the media is going to be attacking even more. They told us, look, we're going to use the media. So you can't get past that media. What you going to do against the media trying to spread your word? So they already got their plan in place. They already put it out a year ago, putting out bad media. So they will be putting it out again. Because after that 4th of July was October the 12th, we went back and continued and made a public declaration. But before that, even that morning they tried to scare some people. They actually scared one of the soldiers. His mother pulled him out, one of the soldiers, because they had on the news, oh, this going on, it's violence, this, that. We're going to make sure we're going to stop them, and this, putting all this kind of bad news out, you know, to sway public opinion against us. But so the public can know this is not, first of all, definitely not a scam, because scam even involves money. We're not asking for $1. We're saying, look, this is not a housing scam. The houses of Detroit belong to the people. The houses of your city who's listening, they belong to the people. Houses do not belong to the mayor, to the city council, to whatever authority they might put up, like a land bank here in Detroit. Houses belong to the people. Want to benefit from these hundreds of thousands of properties in Detroit. They have a right to take them back under their control. So of course, that's one of our campaign. When you campaigning, you got to promise the people something. Why do people want to be self-governed by us, by our council, if they're not getting anything from it? Why do you want to have power in their hands if they're not going to get anything from it? So we're letting the people know, look, all these hundreds of thousands of properties, probably 80% of us all over America are really functionally homeless anyway. But Detroit is special because it has hundreds of thousands of properties. So all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of properties are yours. You can have them. So if you want a home, that home is yours. So all you got to do is stand up with us. We'll draw your consent. Let's consent to an independent control of Detroit, and we will give the homes to the people. And they know that we done lucked up or willed up through God on the perfect marketing strategy to get the people to vote. Everybody's going to respond to that. You listen, if we say you're going to get a free house, would you stand up with us? Yes, you would. If you're going to get grant money, because people not familiar with the term reparations, wouldn't you stand up? We can give ourselves reparations. We can leverage the assets of the city and give everybody reparations. That's the power we have. That's what even the federal authorities agreed that we can do that. They said it sounds stupid to them because they don't understand it. Of course, it's stupid to them anyway because they want to keep us under their subjugation, or whatever you want to call it. But we have a right to do these things, so we're exercising our right. We need more people in the field. So if you want to help us, even if you're in Detroit, come on ground and help us. We need help out here. That post is still up. Y'all want to send at least $5 or something to help. At least send some energy, some prayers or whatever to help us because we're out here on the field. 3 of us already have been incarcerated because of this. But we still out here standing. We didn't go run. They expect us to run. We're not running. We out here. We didn't release this video and let you all know what's going on. We didn't want to scare you all. Because we know people are scared. You got military organizations around here, and we're not going to say